What's good, everybody? RJ Sheldon here. Another episode of BD Boys. Got my good brother James Muenchow in the building. How we doing, brother?
You know the deal. We're off the bye weeks. Let's get it cracking.
And let's get it cracking. Is right. Green Bay Packers are heading to Chicago to go ahead and face the 4-5
Yes.
Bears. Face the 4-5 Bears. We are 6-3 right now. I'm planning for us to go ahead and go 7-3. This Bears team is all over the place. We've seen everything from this morning until now. Firing of their OC. You got guys in the locker room basically saying that they wanted to go ahead and have Caleb Williams benched, and on top of that, go ahead and have their OC gone. There's a lot of just confusion, and this is nothing new from the Bears organization. They're really in a situation right now what they were exactly in 3 years ago with Justin Fields. But we're not worried about them. We're worried about the Packers. So talk to me a little bit about this from the Packers standpoint and what you're wanting to see from both ends coming into this game this week for the Pack.
So, offensively, it's going to be a really tough game. I think the well-known football fan knows the Chicago Bears defense is real. Like they're a good team. They're 4-5 for a reason. They're better than some of the bad teams in the NFL. Like they're not totally a dumpster fire, but and it's because of their defense. So offensively, you need to take this shit seriously. I think they know, like from last year, they only scored 17 points against this defense at home in a win or go home game. So
Right.
it's like, oh, this defense is for real, dude. I mean, 4-5. A good reason they won those 4 games is because of their defense. Actually, one of them was literally because of their defense. So
Right.
you gotta, yes, the team is bad and they're kind of giving up already, but you gotta stomp on their throats offensively. Be aggressive. You can control the game if you start hot. Then it's the game where, okay, let's just run the football, control this game. Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot. Let's play a clean game. So offensively, you just gotta get on them early and often, and I think they'll start to quit. Like this team is quitting on people. So if you get out and start stomping them, that crowd in Chicago is going to turn on them. The boo birds are going to rain,
Right.
and this team's just going to give up. Offensively, or defensively. So offensively is pretty simple. I mean, 4 weeks in a row, Jimmy's great analysis. Don't shoot yourselves in the foot. Take them seriously. No pre-snap penalties, no turnovers. Wow, you're a genius. But with a team like this, that's what you have to do. Like you can't give them more opportunities, give them hope. And if you don't turn the ball over and you play a clean game and you control the game through your running game, that's something you can do. But then you bait them in, and then take your shots. So they're coming off a bye week. I expect them to have a little bit more pep in their steps. So offensively, I hope to see that. Defensively, this team better be licking their chops for this offense. Like, you just went and played a pretty good game against Detroit, I'd say, even though it was a really bad weather game. So the weather probably kept the Lions, even though they looked human on Sunday night, very, very, very human on Sunday night against the Houston Texans. You, as a defensive line and as a corner, as a unit, let's just call it that, are just licking your chops going, if you're a defensive lineman, either D tackle or pass rusher, you're like, this deep offensive line is absolute dog shit.
Yes.
Caleb Williams got sacked 9 times last week. He's going to be a little sore. Yeah, this offensive line, I expect to see a lot of the 8 guys on the line of scrimmage where who's going to drop out, basically. If you get them in a situation where it's 3rd and short, kind of like you saw a lot in Houston, a lot of 7-man guys. I think Jeff Hafley's just going to – and if you know what? If you're getting to the quarterback with just your primary 4, then I think Hafley's just like, I'm going to play one high all day, and Xavier McKinney might have 3 picks.
Right.
So, Defensively, you just got to be licking your chops on this one. But they did fire their OC, which people were like, I don't think people understand. Firing of like an offensive coordinator, nothing's gonna change. Like they're not gonna install a whole new offense within 1 week. It's gonna
Nope.
be the same stuff you see on films. It's just gonna be the philosophy of the play caller making like in what down and distance. It's just gonna be different that way. But it's all the same shit. Still the same shitty offensive line. It's still the same rookie quarterback. It's still the wide receivers who don't want that rookie quarterback and are quitting on him. It's the same shit. So defensively, lick your chops. They are expecting Jair Alexander back, which is huge because then you can and Evan Williams. He is optimistic that Evan Williams and Jair Alexander is going to be playing. So then you can get back to the stuff we've been talking about previously. You kick Keyshawn Nixon out to outside corner. You bring Javon Bullard in to the inside. You let Evan Williams play back on the outside. But you came off a loss. Then you got healthy in a bye. You still got a little bit of a rough, really tough schedule left. And you have the Bears twice. So this is like, if you plan on going a certain like win-loss percentage, like us as fans, them players are like, we're running the table. Like that's the mentality they have. But if we look at their schedule and we start picking games like, oh, this could be a win, this could be a loss. The two Bears games are the first ones I circle and go, those are dubs. Like there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. This is a really, really bad football team. This is dubs. No, there should be no reason unless you have the last week of the year, they play on the last week of the year at Lambeau. If Green Bay has a spot locked, I don't care what it is, and they decide to go, this is a game where we're just going to rest guys because we're not going to improve our position and we're not going to like lose a position if they're in a position like that and they just play backups. That's the only thing where I see, okay, that's a loss because we just want to get healthy. We just want to get into the playoffs healthy, give the guys a rest because we're not going to get that. So that's the only case scenario I see an L for against both of these games against Bears. And the Bears, man, have you seen their schedule?
They might not win a game.
They might win one game. And that's because they might get lucky. They have all six of them are against the NFC North. San Francisco, and I don't even know, Seattle. You have fun. Like, you might win one game, and that might be the Seattle game, just on a whim, or it might be the Green Bay game if the situation I just talked about. Like, y'all have fun. Y'all are giving up already. They're probably thinking about the next quarterback they're going to draft again because that's just how it goes. So, you just got to win this one. I don't care. If it looks bad, maybe we'll have some more stuff to talk about. But Green Bay, just don't take these little Bear Cubs lightly. Just beat the piss out of them, get them down, get the crowd against them, make them leave early. And then let's get on to the next. Get out of here healthy. Let's get on to the next one. So it shouldn't be that simple, but it is the NFL. Like, you can't understate what the NFL is. Even the bad teams find ways to win if the other team doesn't play well. So they're still good. There's still one-of-ones on that team. But if you get them down early, those one-of-ones just start giving up because losing ain't fun, and then getting beat by your rivals in your hometown going 4-6 is also not very fun. So we'll see, but I expect this to be Matt LaFleur's got to be in the red zone. He's got to be in his bag in the red zone. Score in the red zone. Don't take field goals. Don't turn the ball over. Defense, just lick your chops. Get after Caleb Williams. Get him running around. Play your game. Don't take any unnecessary risks because he'll let them make the mistakes. And hopefully this is like a 31. I mean, they haven't scored in their past 23 possessions. The Bears offensively haven't scored a touchdown in their last 23 possessions. Now, if Green Bay gives up a touchdown, let's not panic. Like,
Right.
hopefully it's like a 24-0 game and they get they get a touchdown. Okay, fine, whatever, have it. But
Right.
get on them, step on their throat, make Caleb Williams. You know what? Beat them so bad they put in the backup QB. I want that. Give the Chicago fans what they want because apparently that's what's going to win the football game. So just go there and beat the pit. I mean, usually the Green Bay Chicago games used to get all up for it. Chicago fans, Green Bay fans getting in. Now Chicago fans are like, we got Green Bay again. They haven't won 10 straight. Green Bay has won 10 straight. So this ain't a rivalry big as it was, but it's still like you don't want to lose to Chicago. Even though we have bigger rivals to worry about, Minnesota and Detroit, we'll treat it as a rivalry game. Like, yeah, we want a sense of pride, like we're the better team because we've been playing each other since like 1899. I don't know, but you're not our rivals, really. You're just kind of there. So let's beat the piss out of them, let's move on to the next one.
No, I'm right with you on that. You were going to go ahead and say a score. What is a score do you think this is going to be? Like from a realistic to a high end. What do you think? What do you think the score is going to be?
I'm thinking 31-10.
That's what I had too. I actually had 35-12 because they're going to kick 3 field goals.
I like that.
3-6. Can't even do math. Four field goals. Same thing.
They can't do math either. That's the only math they can do because all they do is kick field goals. So yeah, so fuck them.
No, literally, it's going to be fun to watch. I totally expect the Packers to go ahead and take care of business. I also did see, before we go ahead and move on to the next topic, that Marshawn Lloyd actually practiced as well.
Oh, Nelly. I'm super excited for that. But they have activated him today, so they have 21 days to activate, or they have 21 days to activate him. They haven't activated him yet because obviously there's no game. So he could not play this week, but I think this would be, if he's healthy and he can go, this would be a good game to get his feet wet again, to see how that hamstring is, get him to see some speed, the NFL speed a little bit more, because he's only had a quarter of experience in the NFL. So I'm excited for that, but I think that's going to be more of a let's ease him into this. It's still going to be Emmanuel Wilson as the 2-back. They probably might, if he's activated, they might carry 4 backs. I mean, just for the insurance, if he tweaks it, you have Carl Brooks, I think that's his name, number 30. I call him Amon Green because Amon Green wore 30 and he was a dog.
Facts.
You have Brooks who's there. You don't want to go to 2 running backs. So you might see him carry 4, but I feel like if he's ready to go, they might send Brooks to the practice squad. So we'll see. But if he plays, that means they're comfortable letting him play 100%. I don't think it's coach, this feels all right. This feels all right. I can give it a go. No, we don't want I can give it a go. We want, there's nothing wrong with this. And especially if it's against the Bears, like, we don't want you getting hurt in a game where we might blow this team out. We'd rather have you 110% against a team where we might need you. So if he plays, I would love to see it. I think he's going to be really exciting. I've been talking him up here for a little bit. We still have not a good sample size. The only sample size we have from him is his college days, and the only weakness I saw from him was his ball security. So, but we'll see how that goes. Sometimes people just make some clicks and they don't drop the ball. But I think he'll be put into some positions where they're going to put him in space, and we'll see how it goes. He's a burst guy. He's a speed guy. He's not your Josh Jacobs ground and pound guy. He's get me in space. I'm going to make some moves and hopefully break one. So I hope he does play. I think he's going to be a really excited player.
No, I hope he gets to go ahead and put the G helmet on because, like you said, he's explosive. I think he can go ahead and give a lot of more dynamic to this offense than it already is. He is a special guy, and we got him for a steal in the draft. So
Yeah.
hopefully we see him, but if we don't, I'm totally with you on just making sure that it's 120, 30, 50, 150% sure that he's good and ready to go. Moving on over to Badger football, they had a bye as well. God, all of our teams had a bye as well. We didn't know what to do with ourselves this past weekend.
It was boring.
They go ahead and face the Oregon Ducks, ranked number one, high-powered, explosive, fast, speed, Oregon. For many years, all you think of is, okay, these guys can go ahead and probably throw up 60 points.
Yeah.
At least it's at Camp Randall, but I don't think this is going to go ahead and change anything. But I do believe if that they do play well, which they've played some games well. Granted, they played Alabama, got their ass kicked, but they went ahead and had a quarterback issue. Now we kind of know with the quarterback situation of what Brock can do. He knows what now to expect in those big time games, not being thrown into the fire immediately. He's actually being able to prep, look, see what this offense does. Michigan State played these guys pretty damn well away, not even at home. Basically, if you can go ahead and do what you need to do on the back end, contain certain things, I'm sure Mike Tressel's looking very hard at that Michigan State film to see what they did and how they played, obviously, their quarterback in Gabriel. I'm not saying that Wisconsin's going to win, but I am saying that there is a possibility that they can be in this ball game. Talk to me a little bit about this. 6:30 prime time, could be another legendary Camp Randall game if it turns out that way. But talk to me about this game.
While I speak, look up the spread for me. I want to see the spread.
What do you think the spread is?
Oh, this spread has got to be in the 17.5, 14.5. But
let's see.
Uh,
Minus 14.
Oh, it's close. Lost by a lot. Ducks. Clap, because this is going to be. There goes Oregon that way. There goes Oregon this way. There goes Oregon that way. And here's going to be Wisconsin. Here's Wisconsin. And now they kick it to Oregon, who's going back this way. And here's Wisconsin, down there to Oregon, and they're going to go back this way. It's going to be an ass kicking because the book is out on Wisconsin, as we said. You stop Tyree Walker, the football game. If
Right.
you let this Wisconsin team get control of the running game, then that opens up their passing game. And then it might be a little bit of a game. Defensively, it's just interesting. I wonder how they'll play because we've seen really good Wisconsin defenses again in the past play against teams like Oregon, and Oregon is just a little with that speed and that spread offense and how they like to just get guys in space, and they have those guys with world-class speed. It's kind of tough to play against, especially if your offense isn't maintaining drives, because then you're tired, and all of a sudden I got to run against some guy who runs a 4.3 and he's in the scene. Oh my God. So put your money on Oregon. The only reason you lose that maybe is Wisconsin kind of keeps it within 17, 21 points, and they score like a garbage time touchdown and your plus 14 hits. I don't know. This was Braden Locke. I thought he was getting more comfortable. It looked like he was getting more comfortable, but it against Penn State, it's not. He's still throwing picks against not very good teams either, but against the not good teams, it wasn't hurting them. But against Penn State, it hurt them. So we'll see. But I just don't think Wisconsin's got it. I mean, I think Oregon's just another case of that Oregon, just like Penn State, although they played Penn State a little better and they played Penn State tough. I just think Oregon's just got too much speed, so you can't run the air raid offense on them. That you don't have the speed on the offensive side to beat the defensive side or even to make it a contest. Like, I'm sorry. It's just how it is. So then you got to resort to pounding the rock. But you can't pound the rock because you run out of shotgun. So this is going to be a blowout. I called it against Alabama. I thought you know what? I lost against the Penn State was only 6.5, and that was relatively close. It looked like a game. But they just don't have the team for it, man. Like they just don't. And it's simple as that. And it sucks because, you know, you got all hyped about it earlier this season. But heads got to roll, and this will be another game of, well, the offense didn't do anything again. So let's just move on to the next week. I think they play Nebraska, and then they got Minnesota to finish out the season. So, like, maybe you could knock this team off. It's possible college football at home. I could give you how it's going to be great. It's going to be lovely. You know, Tyree Walker's going to run for 200 yards. The defense is going to have 3 turnovers. Yeah, that ain't happening. So, Oregon 42, Wisconsin 17. And the 17 came from garbage time. It might even be 7. So, next.
The only way that I ever, not like for you, I feel, or in me as well, the only way you have hope of this game, if is even a situation, is that you see 3 tight ends for the whole game. And they run the football. That's the only way. That's the only way.
Until I'm blue in the face. If this is the old school Wisconsin Badgers, where they're running under center, put the 300-pound white dudes in front of you and let them just cook, we might have a little bit of a different discussion. They're trying to play like an Oregon.
Right.
It's like, this is fine. Like, y'all are a little stronger than what we're used to. Well, they'll get used to it now that they're in the Big Ten all the time. But, like, we've seen USC get bounced around by Michigan. And Michigan ain't that great. But what did Michigan do? They got under center, and they just ran the ball. They ran it for 3, 4, 5 yards of carry, and they just wore their son of bitches down. So, but it's not air raid Wisconsin, and it's not going to work. So that's really just all it is.
Well, there ain't nothing much to go ahead and talk about after that, because that's about it, and that's the only way. And we've said this multiple times on this podcast this year, is that they need to get back to doing what you just mentioned. So. Bucks, man, still looking horrible, still looking horrific.
No bueno.
14th in the Eastern Conference, 2-8. The only way, and I said this when I was just, by myself, when I had my own little stint of talking my ish. The NBA Cup has started. Obviously, that's a new thing that, had started last year, which I think is great. I guess players maybe don't get ready to play to win some championship or anything, but they got the Raptors, and then they go ahead and get back into the Cup next weekend or next week, but they started it this week. They faced the Raptors. They got the Pistons, and then they got the Hornets, and then they got the Rockets. If we don't win these next 3 games, or even these 4 games, Raptors are terrible.
Heads roll.
Pistons are horrible. Hornets are the Hornets. And Rockets are the Rockets. If we go ahead and lose all these games, I promise you I'm not watching another game until end of May or even end of, I don't know.
Until Doc Rivers gets fired, his phone's getting a little low. He didn't play very hard. So we're going to move to the floor. But yeah, until Doc Rivers gets fired, I have no interest. We watched, and you know what? They played the Celtics pretty damn tough. Whenever it was. I was like, holy shit, they're leading the Celtics after the third. And then they lost, and I'm like, you know what? Am I surprised? No. But that's how they get you. You're like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be a very good team, but yet you've taken the NBA champs to the wire twice-ish. Actually, not to the wire twice, but you played them pretty tough the first time until about the third quarter. This time, you took them to the brink around the fourth quarter. Okay, are you figuring things out? And then you and I watch at the bar with the Knicks, and it's like, yeah, they ain't got shit figured out. Like, the Knicks are struggling, and they made the Knicks look really good. Karl Anthony Towns is taking Brooke Lopez to church every possession because Karl Anthony Towns looks like, I'm like, what, is he playing in fast motion? Oh no, Brooke is just really fucking slow. Like, it's really bad. And tonight, Damian Lillard ain't playing because of a concussion. I don't know if this was a strategic, hey, he's got a concussion, load management. or holy shit, he got hit and we didn't see it before. He didn't know it until he woke up the next day type deal. We don't know. It's probably a load management thing. Oh yeah, and then you got your $19.5 million superstar, if you can call him that anymore, sitting on the bench, who's not going to play for 40 games over there. So that's going to help us right now a lot, win games. And then, oh yeah, we got another guy who I keep talking about every fucking time we come out of this podcast. He 17 seconds on the play shot clock. All right, get it. No, what are you doing backward? What? What are you doing? Pass. Damian Lillard's over. Oh my God, Bobby Portis just airballed it. Like, you don't see. Like, I know I harp on it a lot, but if you focus on it and nitpick those players, Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, like, I don't mind. For some reason, I don't mind Brook as much as I do mind Bobby, but then there's just times where I'm like, dude, Brook on the defensive end is a liability. Offensively, you can make it work because he's 7-1. And he's a really good back to the basketball player. Like, he actually does have really good post up skills, and he can play in the paint really well. But in this NBA, he can go out on the perimeter. And you really want your 35-year-old center who's 7-1 with back problems for the past 2 years go out on the perimeter and then have the big just blow by him? Like, it's a liability. Doc has started playing AJ Green more because the kid can play. I think the kid plays, and same with Andrew Jackson. But you need help. Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton ain't doing anything for you. Me and you can go play the same amount of minutes and probably do a little bit better.
That's pushing it, but I'll go ahead and take
Wait a minute, and 10% pay. I'll pay it. Hey, what they're making, I'll take 10%. I'll give you some mediocre ball like they're playing. But hey, you know what you're getting out of me, but you're expecting them to do getting paid. Like, I'm not greedy. I'll save you some monies. But it's so bad, and I hate being that guy. Like, oh, I have to do that. No, you can't. Fuck, I can't, bro. I'm 5'9". I'm not Nate Robinson playing in the NBA at 5'9". But yeah, it's just really bad. I don't know if the coaching staff, what am I joking about? The front office can make the big ball decision to fire somebody and be like, you know what, Giannis, you had your dude. You had your choice for a dude in Adrian Griffin. It didn't work, even though Adrian Griffin was still 31-15. Then you panicked and hired a veteran he's won a championship before. Yeah, in a legendary, one-of-a-kind team at the time. And you won one, by the way. You didn't win two. You didn't win three, as LeBron would famously go on and say. That same guy bounced your big three out of Boston, thinking there. And then what other coaches are out there? I mean, you got to go with Darvin Ham for the rest of the season, or you make the big ball decision to try to call Monty Williams, who got fired by the Pistons last year, who got a bag, and see if he'll come and do it. Because I think players really respond to him. They didn't in Phoenix, but that was just, he was fed such a horrible play after the championship run he made to the finals after getting defeated by the Bucks. He got such a bad situation there. And then the Pistons, I don't know, like, he just went there for the money probably, because the Pistons are brutal as well. So they have a lot of hard decisions to make, and I think this front offense is like, we gotta stick to something here, but every decision we're making is wrong. So it's gonna take some trading. It's gonna take maybe eating some contracts. It's gonna take a lot of things. It's gonna take some wild moves that are like, oh my God, I can't believe a team agreed to this. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen because it's going to take Bobby Portis to start playing really, really well, like really, really well, and then you just trade him, because then you can package him with maybe get Brook off the team, or Pat. off the team and bring in like a 7th or 6th guy from somewhere. And, I don't know. But it's bad. It's not going to be good. 2-12. If they make it to 2-12, that Doc has got to be fired. Even though I say right now his head's got to roll. I think I said it 3 games ago. I think his head's got to roll. But 2-12, like, you can't win a championship in November. I mean, the Cavaliers are 12-0. That doesn't mean they're going to win the championship. But you can
Right.
really, really hurt your chances of not winning one in November, which is what the Bucks are doing right now. So, if you get to Thanksgiving and you are like a 5-win team, they have an easier schedule coming up here. They did have a really tough schedule with the Celtics twice, Cavaliers twice. But if you can't win more than half of those really not great games, then it's time to start putting people in the guillotine, pulling the thing, and just watch it come down and shing, goodbye. So, what I'm saying, Bucks got to figure it out. I mean, and I don't know how they're going to do it. I know that they need to get younger, but who is watching this team and going, you know what? We traded for that guy. That guy would help a lot. There ain't many teams that do that. Or like, you know what? I would love a 35-year-old center to not move and huck up some threes and yeah, that seems like a really good idea for $30 million. I think that's what his contract is, which is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, we'll take that guy. It's gonna be great. I think they're the only thing the Bucks have going for them, I'm pretty sure, is that Brook Lopez's contract is up after this year. So maybe halfway through the season, a team might take him as depth if, like, Kristaps Porzingis, let's just say, for the Celtics, if the Celtics want to be really stupid, wanted another big man, and Brook Lopez was there, and the Bucks were kind of out of it. I don't know, but like, I'm just trying to spitball where maybe somebody needs an in-depth big man for $15 fucking million for some reason. So we'll see. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think if the heads roll, if Doc's heads roll, it might get better just because they might get a little bit more bounce. But right now, I don't even think Doc Rivers getting fired is going to help this team because you just have too many liability players, let's call them, that could really fuck your whole game plan up, and people are going to isolate in the NBA. So we'll see, but I still just don't. Every week I'm going to say it just doesn't look good, and I don't have much optimism. If they don't win tonight against the 2-9 Raptors either, then that should be the guillotine. That's it. Get them out. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't know how to control this team. So sing goodbye. So we'll see. But with no Damian Lillard, who knows? I don't even know what the score is right now. So, but we'll see. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. It's the same. We're sounding like broken records about these Bucks because it's the same thing every week.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to be the same thing every week. You got a front office that is scared to go ahead and do anything. I remember when they were doing the draft or whatever, and their like draft room looked like an absolute joke. Like they thought they were like slick with having like it in a different room or whatever. It's bad. It's so bad right now.
NBA
It's going to be
executives,
even worse. It's going to be worse. The more we see this team lose, the more it's going to be even worse because that just shows that the front office just is going to ride it out. Like if you're someone that had already won a championship and you look at the history after winning that and how shitty it is and the moves that you made, deep cleanse. Everybody's got to go. Like we're at that point right now.
Look at we watched that Bucks game on Friday or Saturday, one of the two. We watched that really good Suns Mavericks game. Oh, by the way, who's coaching the Suns right now? Oh yeah, Mike Budenholzer, and he has the Suns looking like something they hadn't looked like since the championship year. or the year they got to the final. Like, and then Drew Holiday, like the same player he left in Milwaukee, but he has bad playoffs. Everybody just wants to run him out of town for Dame Lillard. Now, don't get me wrong, that trade is exciting because yes, we have the best player in the game in Giannis Antetokounmpo. In my humble opinion, at the time maybe he slipped down a little bit, but that was exciting. Like that's like, oh my God, it's Dame time. We watched this guy drop 60, 50, like he's just dropping 50-point games for a week, hucking up threes from 45 feet, draining them. That's exciting. But as a basketball move, it's proving that really wasn't a good move because now you just got rid of the best guard defender in the game. And now he's in Boston. Like the Celtics were good enough, and now you're just giving them a defense. Because when the Bucks play the Celtics, guess who's traveling with Dame any single place he goes? It's Drew Holiday, and we see the Bucks like, you know what, let's get him away from Drew, or let's get the ball away from Drew because Damian Lillard, because Drew's clamping him up because that's what Drew does. They're such a good team over there in Boston. They didn't need Drew Holiday to score 18, 20 points a game like they kind of did in Milwaukee, because in the playoffs he'd score like 12, 15, but he'd be clamping people, but that wasn't good enough. So it just shows how impatient they got. I know you wanted to win now, but it wasn't Drew Holiday that probably should have been traded. And I know you got to work with another team to put. You're getting rid of a point guard. Well, we'll give you a point guard, like you need for need, like for like. But maybe it should have been Bobby Portis. Maybe it should have been Brook Lopez. I know Brook Lopez around that time wasn't having the greatest health, so it was tough to trade. Maybe it should have been Pat Connaughton because at the time he was a cheap, really good bench player. Or like maybe not a really good one, but a seventh guy that would give you 18 minutes a night, 20 minutes of balls to the walls, hustle, and give you maybe 7 to 10 points. In a regular season, you need guys like that. But now it's just like, oh, Pat gives you like 15 minutes a night of 1 for 6 or 0 for 5 or 0 for 7 with 2 points. It's like, great, lovely. Bobby Portis is giving you, sometimes he gives you a really good double-double, but then other times he gives you like 15 points and his plus minus is minus 20. So, and then he's slowing, becomes black hole Bobby. Let's turn my back to the basket with 17 seconds left on the shot clock with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the floor. But hey, do this. No, we don't want you to. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So it just shows the miscalculation by the front office to fire Bud that early, to trade Drew for Damian Lillard, even though that was a really exciting trade, and it's been really fun watching him in a Milwaukee jersey, trying to run it back with the same players that constantly have been proving, other than 1 year, it ain't working. They're not doing it for you. So this is really all on the front office. Times we've seen Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo scoring 30 points a night each, and they lose. So when it comes down to it, when this all goes up in flames, which it's starting to kindle right now, we can hear the crackling. We can't see the flames, but we can start hearing some crackling, and then you just got to get that, like they teach you in the Boy Scouts, feed some oxygen in that fire, and then it'll start going. We're getting to that point. We're about to put some oxygen in the fire, and then this sumbitch is going to start getting hotter and hotter, and eventually it's going to be up in flames, and then we got to tear the whole thing down by trading Damian Lillard or potentially trading a Giannis.
It's going to be very, very hard to watch, as it already is. But that just is what it is. I mean, if your general manager is not going to go ahead, put his big boy pants on and go ahead and now really start planning on what he's going to do, if the ownership's just going to sit back and let it happen, then I'm just going to be like a fan, and I'm going to just let it be, because then I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm going to just let you know,
Yep.
Cool, win or loss, you won't hear from me or hear what I think about the Bucks on this show until we get it figured out. So
we're going to be like, oh, they're
moving
bad.
on.
All right, next.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you the score, and that's it.
Yep,
and then moving on lastly,
next, please.
Brewers, we went ahead and seen another player of ours go ahead and get another award, his second straight,
Sure.
and that is Contreras going ahead and getting the NL
William,
Silver Slugger Catcher award.
catcher in
Good
the
for
league.
him. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
he's been great ever since I've been watching, but I feel like ever since he's came to Milwaukee, we've taken him in.
It's
He's done a great job just from hitting,
he's
from getting
yep.
pitchers ready, just everything that needs to go ahead
hmm
and be ready for the Brewers to play, to consistently win on a day-to-day basis. He's done that. Talk to me about that.
I mean, when that trade happened, we were like, oh, I know his brother, Wilson. I don't like his brother. His brother's a jagoff, in my opinion. And he's all about the flashy, look at me, me, me. Well, you don't really do much, so you can go get bent for all I care. I'm like, maybe this will be a little different. I don't know. And from the second he showed up in Milwaukee, he came from Atlanta, where he played 70 games as a catcher. It's like, oh, so we got their backup catcher. Brace had a pretty good catcher. I think I forget who it was. I can see the way he catches. He's a very good catcher. He's a solid guy. 70 games because the catcher was out for about 40 of them in the regular season. Um, then I was like, oh, okay. 5 years of control on him for a rookie contract. Sure, and catcher was a position in need at the time for the Brewers. He came in and he filled that position absolutely phenomenally. He has been the staple of not only the offense, but he's also been the staple of the defense. He works with that pitching staff very well, as we saw this year, considering he had to catch 17 different starters for the Brewers this year because everyone kept getting hurt. And he is just a phenomenal catcher. He's gonna be another one. Shocking, I know, because the small market in baseball's broken. I don't want to get into it because I'm just gonna get mad. He's gonna be another guy that the Yankees or Dodgers scoop up to supplement their goddamn needs because they don't know how to scout themselves. They just let all us little guys do it, and they go, you know what? I like that guy. We're gonna wait till his rookie contract gives up and then give him a bag because we can. But again, William Contreras is is just the prototypical guy you show film for catching if any youngster wants to catch. He is a great hitter, so well deserved to him 2 years in a row. We love seeing him in a Milwaukee Brewer uniform, and we hope to see him for longer to come. But enjoy this now. He's going to be back next year, and we'll see what's going on.
No, absolutely. Well, obviously, short and sweet. Big games this week. Packers play obviously against the Bears. You got the
One more
Badgers
thing,
playing
brother.
against. Oh, go ahead.
For the Brewers, also named as a Rookie of the Year finalist,
Oh
which is
yes, forgot.
incredible to hear. He's not going to win it,
Which sucks.
unfortunately, but he's getting beat out by a generation. First of all, Jackson Chiro is a generational talent, I think, because he's 20. Boy's not even old enough to drink yet. And if you watched any of baseball this year, or if you didn't watch any, but then you just tuned into the 3 games the Brewers play in the playoffs, the boy's 20 years old and he's out there doing what he did. And he's a Rookie of the Year finalist. He's going to get beat out by Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates, who is an absolute flamethrower. And he has a flamethrower of a girlfriend. Well, I don't want to talk about that. That's not what we come here for, but you might want to go look her up if you haven't heard her. But he's he's getting beat out by probably who's going to probably go down as one of the greater pitchers to play the game of baseball. And that's not a bad guy to lose to. But Jackson Chiro, 20 years old, the Brewers took a huge risk on him, giving him $8 million a year or $10 million a year for 8 years without even touching the field, and all of a sudden he's just like, I got you, don't worry. It's incredible to see. So well deserved for him. I hope he wins it, but he's not going to win it. It's going to be Paul Skeens. Again, not a bad guy to lose to. And, Jackson Chiro, hopefully down the line, one of these times, he maybe gets into that MVP conversation. I think that's a little stout still for me to say, considering he played only his first year. But I think that's what the potential we saw from him as a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, no, forgot about him. But yeah, he's turned to be a guy that's actually probably one of my favorite Brewers right now because he's definitely going to be with
Oh,
us for a long
absolutely.
time. but there's always been a lot of great ones before. But with that, you guys have a great week. Obviously, I was said earlier before I forgot, cheerio.
Cheerio.
Packers,
That's a noon game.
Packers, Brewers, Jesus. Packers, Bears, noon game. You got the Badgers versus Oregon. That's a primetime game on
6:30
Saturday.
Yeah. Oh,
And
great.
then
We get destroyed on prime time.
Bucks on
right now.
Basically all week this week and the weekend. So with
Come on,
that
man.
being said, you guys have a good one. We will see you later.
Make good choices.